Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. You know, all of us understand the importance of education and getting our children off to school and preparing them for young adulthood. But what about things like balancing a checkbook or writing a business plan or maybe learning the importance of being able to raise capital? Most of that education is going to come outside of traditional schooling, and it's going to be mostly self-education, maybe found through the internet or other avenues. Today we're going to be talking with an amazing young entrepreneur, Sam Vrinios, and awesome guy. Has a thriving business, and we're going to learn what it takes to not only make it in today's economy, but how to do it as a young person and how to take it single-handedly and build a plan that's going to put him into a multi-million-dollar business. Stay with us. If you're a parent, this is an episode you're not going to want to miss. Stick with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Margot Bush. Margot, how you been?
I've been good. How have you been?
I've been great.
Back from where you been?
I was actually I've been, as some of you know, I've been out of the country for a couple of weeks. The plan was to go to Germany and Rome, and then we were going to do Venice and a few other places. And that didn't work out so well. So it wasn't my favorite vacation of all time, but it was good.
Because you kind of got sick.
Well, the last day we filmed an episode here, and then I told you about midnight that night. I said, I'm not feeling great. And then the next day we flew all day, and I felt sicker than a dog. The weather over there was about 37, 38 degrees, cloudy. We had 1 day out of 2 weeks, the sun came out for an hour. So it was a kind of a rough trip. But
and most people don't know, you don't really like cold.
I hate cold. That's why I live on the beach. But I will tell you that everything's so old over there. We went to these castles that were literally built in like the 8th century. I went to a tavern while I was there. We had lunch, and you can get beer and whatever, your local schnitzel place. But they actually opened in the 12th century. And in the square that we were at, there was a lot of knights that had homes there, and then they worked up at the castle on the hill. And so these guys would plumage all day with their swords and do whatever knights do, and they would come in with their swords to this establishment and pay in gold and order. And this place is still in business. I mean, it was just unbelievable experience. So we and Julian got to see Frankenstein's castle.
Oh, really?
He was dying to see that.
Cool.
And it was a great trip. I will say that I think I put on about 10 pounds because every meal is bread. So I know the trainer Davey's going to be upset.
I knew you weren't going to do good, but we were going to slap you in.
Well, for breakfast, I don't know if a traditional European breakfast, particularly German, is like you have 3 or 4 different kinds of fresh bread, and then 3 or 4 different kinds of cheeses, lunch meats, and then they have like sliced bell pepper or sliced tomato with like gherkin pickles. So I'm eating like pickles with my coffee. It was really bizarre, but everybody eats that over there every morning. And, I will say I kind of miss it. But I had more bread in 2 weeks than like a year. So it's back to the treadmill and the whole program. How have you been?
I've been great.
Did you go home for the holidays?
No, I didn't, because I had to go up to Atlanta to meet with some people, and I got to meet with an associate of Warren Buffett. And
not Jimmy Buffett.
No.
Guitar or lots of money?
No,
Money
Warren
guy.
Buffett.
Okay.
No, the Warren Buffett. Even though I miss my family because the boys were at home.
Buffett, family.
Well, it was a little
No-brainer.
So
do you get to meet the man or what?
No, not yet, but we will.
Okay.
I will.
Well, good. You better hurry because Warren's not getting any younger. And speaking of entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, I'm really jazzed about our guest tonight, Sam Vrinios. He's a very successful young entrepreneur. And I've actually been watching this show on PBS. I record it, me and Julian, on Saturday mornings.
It's all you can talk about, really.
It's called Biz Kids. I don't know if you've seen this show. If you haven't, you have to check it out. And it's these young kids. They're not only very entrepreneurial, but they're teaching other kids how to write business plans, how to raise capital. The episode I saw was a 15-year-old running a multi-million-dollar business. And I'm just saying, this is the greatest show I've ever seen in my life. Very open-minded, you know, not like adults where they think everything won't work. And so I was telling a friend about it, and he brought me an article. He says, you know, I just read this article about one of these kids that literally had this great idea and has written this plan and started, and now there's the demand, they can hardly keep up with it. And so I'm really jazzed to have him on the show. Please give a warm welcome to Sam Vrinios. Good to meet you. Now, Sam, I'm personally very excited to have you. I was started as a very young entrepreneur as well. I don't think as young as you, unless they count mowing a few lawns. But first of all, by looking at you, you seem very young. So tell us how old you are and a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
Well, I'm 15, and I'm from Florida, but I was originally from Illinois. We've lived in Florida most of our life, though. So
what part of Florida?
Well, from Bradenton, Florida.
Bradenton. Now, that is near Tampa?
Yeah, it's near the Tampa, Sarasota area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 15, I got to tell you, that's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Now, you started your business. How old were you when you first started your business?
I was 13.
13 years old.
2 years ago.
Good Lord. And the name of the business is Imagine Customs.
Yep, Imagine Customs.
Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Basically, we custom design, different electronics. Xbox 360 controllers, PS3 controllers. We can customize the full console. We can customize iPhone cases and all kinds of different products.
Well, I read an article recently that I was shocked because I'm a big music enthusiast, and they were saying that when it comes to entertainment, I believe they were saying that if you combine the whole movie sector and music, video games is bigger than both combined. I mean, it's huge. Yeah. So I know when these new games come out, you got millions of kids waiting for the day these games come out. And so do you do like a review where you say, okay, how many people have played the new game, blah, 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 the controller's too hard, the fire button's off, or what's the need of why you're customizing them? Do they sell controllers?
Basically, controllers, are normally just black or white, and they're kind of plain.
I got you.
And a thing that's really growing right now is customization of different things. Like you want your Mac to be, have your little engraved name on it.
Instead of a tattoo, just put it on your Mac.
Yeah,
I'm sure the parents will be a lot happier.
Yeah, so it's really growing a lot. The whole customization factor, and and the same thing goes over for the gamers.
Gotcha.
They want their products to be customized just like any other normal person.
Well, and a lot of these gamers I know, they have different names that they give themselves that they play by, so they can customize all of that and have their own deal.
All the professional gamers, and the people who go to the Major League Gaming events, they all, want their own custom designed thing for their team or for themselves, as an individual player.
Are you personally a fairly good gamer?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
You're just saying, you know what, it's a great idea, let me make money. They can play all they want.
That's right.
I appreciate that. Now, tell us what inspired you for the idea. I mean, you say you're not personally really a big gamer, but when did you decide, you know what, how did you decide I'm going to become this entrepreneur? I'm not going to go out there and do the typical job thing, but I'm going to go create my own.
Well, basically, when I was a little kid, even when I was, 6, I was always trying to create little businesses, and I had this spin art business. I don't know if you knew the little spin art thing that you used to drop paint on it.
Oh, yeah. Spin, yeah.
So I used to take those and I actually sell them to my mom's friends and all kinds of stuff like that. And actually, I went to the Vanderbilt Art Museum, and I went up there with my little business suit on, my little tie, when I was 6 years old, and I sold 10 paintings to that museum there. So that was really cool. And ever since then, I sold shell frames. I sold paintings, and then from that point, I made enough money to actually start the business that I have. So I've always kind of had that entrepreneurship, in me. So
now, and you're saying the business that you have. A lot of people, they say, well, I have my own business, and that consists of maybe a home office, which there's nothing wrong with. But you actually have people working for you. I mean, how many employees do you guys have?
We have 12 right now.
12 employees now.
There's online managers, and we have our social marketing managers and stuff like that. The whole shebam. We have the
social marketing managers.
Yep.
You guys hear that? I mean, I meet so many adults on a regular basis that I'm telling them, you have to get into social media.
Yeah, social media.
And so many people are disconnected. They're doing the old school, work
SEO,
the phones, and they're just not. But you are not only recognize the need for it, but have people managing.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah, and we actually have 4 employees who work at the store who actually make the products. Gotcha. They create the controllers, and then the other employees just manage the online part of our business.
Gotcha. And where can you find the controllers?
You can get them on our website, or you can come to the store, but most likely you would want to get them on our website, which would be imaginecontrollers.com.
Now tell us a little bit about, your family. I actually was raised in a family where my parents were very supportive of me. They would say, they thought I was great at that. They said, you could do anything you want. But when it came down to it, and I actually said, I want to, be my own boss and start my own business. At the time, there was a lot going on in my family. My parents were in the middle of a divorce, and they were saying, it's not the right time. Why don't you get a job? And most people I know, in helping a lot of people start a business, the biggest thing they're contending with is the family and friends saying, hey, you're crazy, man. You need to get a real job. Were your parents, did you have to overcome something like that, or were they supportive?
Not at all. My parents were extremely supportive of, every decision I made. They always, my mom, she's always wanted the best for me, and my dad as well, and my whole family actually. They always taught me to dream big.
Oh wow.
My mom, she's a national with Mary Cosmetics.
Mary Kay.
Yeah, and she's in the top position
Yeah.
there.
Wow.
So I really got a lot of my inspiration from my mom and how she.
So you grew up like getting toted around in the pink Cadillac and the whole deal.
Caddies, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you're so fortunate, I'll tell you, to be able to be in a situation where you have that advantage, and you can, I'm sure, also learn good financial principles in that kind of a situation. And I'll tell you, we're going to take a quick break, but when I come back, I want to see some of these controllers. Okay. I want to talk a little bit more about your vision and what your plans are for the future. More with Sam in a minute. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back. We're here with Sam Vrinios, a young entrepreneur, 15. Started your business at 13 years old. And first of all, here's some of your controllers here. And tell us a little bit about these, because I don't play video games much. Yep. I will say I have played more. I have a 5-year-old, so I'm actually getting into video games a little bit out of necessity. But tell us a little bit about these. They look pretty amazing. They light up. But what was do people come to you and say, here's the color I want, or here's the design I want? Or how does it work?
Yeah,
some of this, do you have a design team, or does it come out of your head? Or what?
Well, it really depends. They can send us their own design, or we have a design team that can come up with a design for you. But mainly we have a website, basically like Nike ID, if you ever heard of, how they customize tennis shoes, T-shoes. Basically, you can customize your own controller.
Gotcha.
Just like that. You can spin the controller and change the colors.
On your website.
Yeah, on my website.
Do that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
So we basically kind of took that idea and moved it over to the controller aspect of the business.
This one's tight. Black with gold. I have some friends that this is the one they would. Okay. Yeah. And so a bunch of different ones here. Which one's your personal favorite?
I don't know if I really have a personal favorite, but that controller right there is for our 100,000 subscriber mark that we hit on YouTube. So we actually made a 100,000 subscriber controller. That's why it says 100,000 on the left side.
Well, I was going to talk to you about that, because I heard that you have a huge YouTube following.
Yeah, we do.
How did you get so many people on YouTube? Because, I mean, they're like waiting for the new release, like 100,000 people waiting for the next one to come out. Yeah. How did you do it, man?
Basically, we have 112,000 subscribers right now. And what we did is when I was, I had 0 subscribers at a point. And obviously, what we did is we hooked up with some other bigger professional gamers. And I can name a couple of them, which would be Optic and FaZe. And they're some of the top, gamers in the world. And they have the biggest YouTube following. So what we did is we hooked up with them, and we told them to check out our products, and we sent them some controllers, and they ended up liking them, and we worked out a partnership with them. And what they started to do was to use our controllers on their live streams and in their videos, and people started to actually hear about us and see us. And then basically, I pushed all of their followings towards our YouTube channel, which is kind of like the central zone where they can check out our controllers. And basically, that's how I created the following that I have on YouTube.
Well, and this here, it's no small thing. I mean, I know that you guys put out a number of these things. Oh, yeah. Capital-wise, I meet so many entrepreneurs on a regular basis that they won't get started because they believe they need this astronomical amount of money, which most times they don't. Or their belief is like, nobody's loaning money right now, so I have a great idea, but I'm never even going to take another step to pursue it. But how did you get the capital to get started, and was it a big amount of capital, or
not at all?
How'd you guys do it?
I didn't get a bank loan or anything. What I did is I those paintings and the story I told you about earlier.
When you were 6 or something.
When I was 6, yeah. When I was making those little paintings and spin arts, basically I earned enough money from that point. I made about $2,000. That's it. And I took 1,500 of it, and I bought this machine called a plotting machine. And this machine basically cuts out vinyl and stickers. And basically what I did is I used that machine to create the product. Because without that machine, I had to use an X-Acto knife to cut it out on painter's tape, and that wasn't, the best solution. So what I did was I took that machine, I started to make some nicer, higher quality controllers, uploaded them to YouTube, and then I contacted the other teams and started from that point with about $500 in my PayPal. So
were you the one working the phone saying, I gotta find a joint venture on this? I gotta work this.
Just me.
That's killer, man. I love it. Well, what's interesting is a young kid getting a hold of $2,000. That's like unbelievable. I mean, they're gonna go bananas and buy bikes and ice cream and candy and skateboards. But you're saying, let me reinvest most of it and buy a machine so I can start keeping up with my supply and demand that I'm gonna have. That's unbelievable forward thinking. Well, we really appreciate you on, and I'll tell you, it's a real inspiration to find a young guy like you, that's out there doing these things. And again, I know that you have this big Twitter following. I know that from what I understand, the plan this upcoming year is really going into the millions now. You guys have big plans for 2013. And the company's already been doing very well. What sets you apart from competitors? I mean, are there a lot of competitors doing this? Or?
Yeah, well, there is and there isn't. I really wouldn't call any of them competitors.
They don't sweat you.
No,
you're not worried about it.
Not a bit. We were the first ones to do this customization. A lot of people followed along, and ever since we were created, you see hundreds of little controller companies trying to get out there. And it's you have to have the relationships. The relationships are so important in this business. The relationships with your sponsors and your partners, and the relationships you have with them is what's going to excel you forward above the other companies. And these other companies, basically what they do is they make their controllers out of their apartments and things like that. But we're not like that. We have our own store. We do it the right way, and we have the highest quality products on the market. And it's really there's nowhere else to go to get the highest quality controller but Imagine Customs.
Well, and you make a really good point too, because I talk to a lot of adults, and I've helped many thousands of people write business plans. And a big reason why people would write a plan is they were looking to go get seed money to get started. And a big thing that I saw is when they were looking at their potential market share, they would say, no one's going to take me serious, and am I going to be able to get a decent market share because there's so many other big players out there? And I would tell them, this actually is an advantage, because all the other guys that have been doing it forever, they're not looking at you as a threat. But they have this paradigm that they're stuck in, saying this is the way the video game business is. Instead of a new young guy coming in, seeing it from a young person's perspective, and not having all those walls and those ideas, saying, you know what, who cares the way it's been done? Here's what kids want. You know what I mean? So I'd feel more comfortable buying from you. I think that you'd have an advantage, actually, from all the old timers that have been in the video game business since it started. And man, I'll tell you, it really reflects well on your parents too, that you've obviously had some great training, very open-minded, and again, you're very fortunate to have people behind you that really believe in you. And for recently, I know that you had another transition in your business. You've been trying to keep up with growth, and you've been doing really well, but you took a really large part of your capital again and reinvested it back into the company. Tell us a little bit about that, because I'll say, with every business, there's risk involved. And it's not a one-time deal of, you start your business, you have a little risk, or you put a little skin in the game, and then you build it, and that's it. There's transition periods where sometimes you've taken your company as far as it can go, and you need this next step type thing, and you gotta go all in again. And you just did that. Tell us about that.
Well, basically, when we first started the business, the first month, I think we brought in around $40,000 in the first month. And
this is when you were 13?
This is when I was 13.
Okay.
And I took that money and I reinvested every last dime of it back into the business immediately. Immediately after I got the money, it was all back in.
No kid would do that.
Yeah. No, it was a little stressful on me, but $40,000 for a 13-year-old kid, putting it all back in. I kind of wanted to, go buy some candy or something.
Yeah, right.
I took it and I put it back into the business. I bought a new website. I bought a storefront. I bought more products. I hired new employees. And you know, from that point, it was the best decision, you know, I could have possibly made. And you know, I basically just took the risk and knew that
Unbelievable.
You know, it was gonna succeed. So.
Well, tell us about the future. I mean, you're 15 years old. You've built this company now that it's on track to make millions of dollars in the future. You got great supporters, sponsors. You obviously know you're ahead of the curve a little bit on what's coming. You seem prepared. Mm-hmm. You've made a lot of sacrifices, I'm sure, as a young person. Mm-hmm. And I understand what that's like. But tell us what the future for Sam looks like. I mean, where do you see yourself?
Well, I really want to take my business, you know, I actually want to make $1 million before I'm 16. You know, we're a little over $500,000 right now. And, you know, I really want to make sure that I hit that 1 million mark before I'm 16. Because, you know, a lot of people say they made $1 million when they're, you know, 16, 17. Yeah. But I want to make it before.
25. Yeah. You know, you can, but 16, man, oh my gosh, yeah. I can't tell you what a mess I was at 16 years old. Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on. Any quick advice you could give if we have young people saying, you know what, I want to take a risk. I want to get out there. I want to be a young entrepreneur as well. Do you have any advice for our young viewers out there?
Well, you just want to definitely follow your dreams and, you know, don't ever be scared to take any risks with your business and make sure that, you know, you always listen to your parents and whatever they tell you to do, you know, just listen to them because, you know, I listen to my parents and it's really taken me far in my business and everything that I do. So.
Sam, you're a great role model. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Sam Vrinios, everybody. And that's our show. Amazing, amazing. Come back, please, anytime. I'm inspired. And it's a lesson all of us can learn. That's our show. Don't forget to get involved in your local community and be forgiving of others. Good night, everybody. Hi, I'm Dan Vega, and thank you for watching our channel. I want to take a second to tell you about a resource that's helping thousands of people across the country, BLU University. BLU University is the premier online business school for entrepreneurs and business leaders. You know, if you find yourself in a day-to-day grind where you've lost your joy or you're just tired of struggling, then check out BLU.University. That's BLU.University. I can promise that you receive nothing short of a multi-million-dollar education. And if you want a completely different life in 3 to 6 months and a way to create wealth in 5 years or less, then again, check it out. That's BLU.University. Find out why blue is the new color of success. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel or to give us a good rating, but that's only if you see value. And when you do receive value, make sure to share it with someone else. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.